Right, okay. So on the screen, I'm not going to magnify, I'm just going to use the circle thing to point you where you are. When it does load, Jade, look for this. It says Dreamweaver site.
What you just moved?
Sorry, that one there. Same area though, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Because obviously, probably for you and maybe even Curtis, this is stuff that you haven't touched since last year. I expect you've probably done a lot more, so.
No, I'm Dreamweaver now.
Right, fair enough.
Whoa. Yeah, fair.
So I want you to create a Dreamweaver site, local, give it a name, just call it like WBPF. Create a local folder for it.
Why didn't you get that?
Okay. It should just come straight to that page.
Yeah, it did. Dreamweaver.
It does, yeah.
Open
Dreamweaver site name.
Yeah, just call it
Just go.
whatever you want to call it. And then create a local folder for it of the same name, then click save. So if I say, for example, I'll call mine WBPF, and I'll use a folder that I've already got set up for this inside of that. Yeah, I mean,
We need to set up a server, you know.
no, don't need to set up a server yet.
So long to do.
We'll do the server. It should only take 10 minutes to do the server. Yeah, I'm probably going to put it on. I think we'll host it in one place, and then we'll just mirror it on the East Riding site.
Well, I've got I have a domain.
Yeah, okay. You can put it on your domain as well, mirror it or something.
You bought a domain? I do, yeah.
We still need to.
You bought a domain?
You might as well.
Like
Like £5 for 2 years.
For a year?
We give you hosting as well. That's the difference. It is only a £5 for 2 years or something for a product. Okay. It must be loaded by now.
I've had to click it 3 times.
Well, that's probably where the problem is. Once you've selected that folder and saved, it'll tell me off because it's a root inside of something else. I want you to create a folder in there and just call it Adam's Examples. So you've got a folder, you know, a new folder in there just for stuff that you do with me, and then you can keep your own stuff separate, obviously.
Create the site.
Yep, you created your site, you've got a folder, it should go straight to it.
I've just got this back up again. Oh yeah, because you've not got any documents in here. So you can create a folder in there. Just call it like Zoom cluster for and stuff. Shit. File, not folder. I'll just call it like the by now.
Taking the piss.
Never meant
This is why I give up.
Okay. I haven't designed these there.
Yeah, in Edit and Preferences, you will find New Document there. Just make sure that the default document type's at HTML5 and then click OK. That will mean that every time you create a new document. So do you want to do that bit first, Jade? Oh, okay. And then, yeah, we'll go with a HTML document. I'm going to give this a title of horizontal.
Local site folder.
Yeah, just call where it says on there, it's like 2 there.
Yeah.
Just, or you can just create one.
I know it's doing my heading.
Okay, find somewhere that you can work on regularly. Give it a name. Yeah, you can probably work there or on the C. I'd work on your documents, to be honest. You're not going to be doing anything massive. So all I was going to do to start off with is create full-size pages using article inside of the body. So familiar with tags at least, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm using is the article tag, and every article is going to represent a page. So each page is an article. By default, right, if I give it an ID, press return, and then it sets that all up for me using the code hinting. Let the code hinting do the work for you. So I'll call this title page, and then I'll just copy and paste that a few times so I can have some other pages.
There is one thing I do like about business.
What's that?
And that is when you press the slash bit, it closes it for you online.
It's great.
You don't get that no.
There's just some little things.
Can you? It's just a line.
That,
You press enter and it just twice.
that's one thing I have noticed. That I do like.
You can switch it off as
Everything
well.
else,
You can switch it off as well. So I'll have one called About Me. I had one called Portfolio Index. And I'll have another one, call it Tutorials. I'll get rid of that last one. I don't need one forward, I think, for now. Could have contact. But in the thinking of Curtis from the other week, why don't I just have contact in About Me?
Yeah, I think they should fit in, especially like that website we looked at. She had like the About Me bit, had like 2 lines.
Right, hold on.
It
I've
just
got
said that.
your folder and saying I've done examples and what we're doing.
What?
I've done your folder saying I've done examples in my site thing, so what we're doing now.
Oh, right. I was just doing your HTML5 default first, in editing them preferences.
Right, yours is HTML, so press edit.
We'll put those bits in. And what I'll do with you guys is we'll just start off with separate CSS documents and separate JavaScript documents rather than having it in the file. So what I'm going to do is create a new CSS rule for tag. The tag I'm going to use is article. It actually default to article if you've got article selected at the time. And rather than this document only, I'm going to go for new style sheet file and then click OK. It'll ask me what I want to call it. And I'll just call it main this version, and I'll keep on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep on changing the file in this one. You might want to keep separate, different versions if you're saving like distinct files, so you can come back to look at it. So save that. It's going to give me a relative path. I'm not going to do anything at the moment. I'm just going to click OK because what I want to do is sort out that relative path. So I'm going to save my untitled file inside of that folder, and I'll just call it example1 or horizontal B1 or something like that. You know, it's like to represent however you want to organize it, just so that it makes sense that there's steps there. Okay. So in part 1, I should then be able to access the CSS file directly like this, and you'll see that it's set up article for me. You've got 2 ways of accessing this, Jid. You can go into the code and do it by hand, and some things you will pretty much have to do in CS6. If you're working with CC at home, the selectors that are available is much more comprehensive.
I missed that CSS bit.
All right, I clicked on this bit here. You should be able to see a thing called CSS styles. If you get rid of everything except for insert, CSS styles, and files, they're the 3 things that you really need. So yeah, you can go into the main CSS file and you can type stuff in, or you can double click here, and I'll just change the background color for, actually I don't want to change the background color for article really. What I want to do is change the size, which I'll find in box. So I'm going to set it to 100% height and width.
Oh, shit.
Okay, and I'm then going to add rules for the different IDs that I've got. So if I add a property, sorry, add a selector, new rule here, it it will then pick up that ID usually if I've got that bit selected. So you see how I've got the cursor there or there. Whenever I click on new rule, it will either give me an ID or the tag depending on what it is. So I do want to create one for title page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color for each one of them. So select one, create a color, and that's just background color, choose a color, whatever you want for now. We'll just take the default stuff that's there in that color wheel. Okay. Same for this one. Do you want to do that? Okay. Background color, I did blue last time. I'll do something a bit more orangey for that one. Okay. Portfolio index. So I've set the index. The identifier allows me to set different properties for each one, but by targeting article at the start, it allows me to set things that are consistent across the whole block of articles. So I've got different articles, so they can have common features or common properties. You can set by the tag, or you can set by a class, and then they've got individual features which you can set by ID. So then if I save all, which I don't think there's a keyboard shortcut for that, but file, save all. Sorry? I think you can probably set you can set your own presets there, so if you want you can set something up. That will allow me to then test that. Hopefully what will happen is, if I just get my, all right, on the screen it's just white. Yeah, it's not been working very well, that one, because of the 100% height. If I was to set the height to say 1,000 pixels for each one, fingers crossed, save that, and F5 it, you'll notice then that each one of those blocks is 1,000 pixels. Okay? That's just so I can visually show you. It's like, yeah, it's like Neapolitan ice cream. So all that's showing you is that the box model is you create an element vertical. That's the way that HTML works. So what we're doing is we're breaking that in this example and making it go sideways. So if I go back and change that to 100% again, the thing that I need to do to make it work with percentages is set the position to absolute. And all that means is there's different ways that it can calculate how things are positioned. It can be absolute, so it's just absolute to the document. It can be fixed, doesn't move at all. Or it can be relative, and that means relative to whatever it's contained by. So we probably won't handle relative at all in this session. So if I save that and then test it again, they're all 100%, but they're all on top of each other. So we can only see one of them at that point in time.
That's all right.
Okay.
Why does man say main.css is not on the local disk?
Probably because of the way you saved it and the way you saved everything else.
That one.
Right. So that's good. I'll save.
This is what I have found. I don't like it. Is this? You know when you got two tabs? Yeah, brackets.
Oh,
This.
This.
And then you press enter. Yeah. Enter.
Oh.
And you press both. It doesn't go both. It goes through that. So you have to then click again. That's Yeah.
I don't know where you saved that. But it's not. It's where it's meant to be. Create an HTML document. Slide. Create a wall.
I mean, like in PHP, we set there and set the object at the top.
New starts.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I mean.
It's kind of like that. Well, this one's just like background colour, so the colour is
Yeah.
there it is.
Well, it's not. Now, should bring it up a little bit. Yeah, so if we just save it, close it, we go.
There you go. That's what I was trying to make.
Okay.
Yeah, so the way that we make it tile them across to the side is we set the position to absolute, and then we give them individual positions. So the title page is going to be first, it's going to be the left. I'm just going to set that as left 0. The about me could be next, and I'll call that left 100%. Portfolio could be next, I guess, and I'll call that left 200%, and then 300% for the other one. By doing that and saving it, should then find, when I go back to this page in F5 to refresh it and scroll along. Sorry? Oh, well, this is tuition for the web-based portfolio. That's what the session, so the session runs 9 till 11. I've been recording it though, so you can access it afterwards. Although we're pretty early on into it, if you open up Dreamweaver, you could probably catch up just about. So do you get that? Okay.
I've just
In your
put the colours in.
source code, you've got that, yeah?
Background colour.
This
and my
stuff.
CSS.
In your HTML, you've got those elements, yeah?
Got those.
Yeah. So in your CSS, I've done height and width of the article and the position.
Oh my god, what?
So in article, what I did was I didn't set the background color there. I just did box 100%, 100%.
See, I've set background colour for all of them.
Yeah, these ones here, look. Title page, about me, portfolio index, and tutorials have all got background colors.
Oh, mine says article.
So that's it, because go into that one there.
Oh,
No, go into that south sheet. You've got the article one.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put in position absolute and then width, send back.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
Just enter the into university.
In here or in here.
It depends on whether you want to hand code it or if you want to do the through that funny box thing.
Position.
Position absolute. So you go on. And then height and width to 100%. Oops. Typo. Is that 100%? It's high on the screen. We can set the goals at the end of the
Yeah, so what I did was, in the source code, I just typed title, about, portfolio, and tutorials, and then I just thought I'd show you the design view if you want. Because in the design view, all you can really see are those box elements there, mine looking like a nice Neapolitan ice cream, and the words. Now, if you've got properties available at the bottom of the screen, oh Christ, I can't see my mouse very well.
I have.
Yeah, you can make it bigger by double-clicking on it. Oops.
Double click on what?
Properties.
Oh, there we go.
So like if you double click on it, it makes it smaller or bigger. What you can do then is you can highlight the word and you can give it a link. And the target is just hashtag and then whatever the ID is for that page. So title page for this one, and then about, same thing, highlight it, give it a different ID to target. So if you want to work with that way, it's up to you. That way or hard code, I find it a little
Oh,
bit.
it's linked.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it does it for you. It's great like that.
Guys, I'm coding.
Again, you were all up for it last year when you discovered it needs to match the ID as well.
Yeah, I'm doing that bad boy already. Oh shit.
Language.
Sorry. If I go into Chrome, look at they'll go, oh, look at that!
Yeah, they will do that exactly.
Well, that is just fancy.
Yeah.
They all work, doesn't it?
Press the dot.
Oh, it's gone on there.
It's got a bit brighter.
Why?
It does have a bit of a negative effect on the screen though.
Yeah, I was going to say. On this big screen.
It gets a bit harder to see it. We look good somewhere half and half. We should be okay with that. That'll do.
Guys, have you done that yet? I have.
I think one or two of them might have done it.
Oh, I can see that Curtis's works.
I didn't. 'Cause
Mine did.
I didn't put the ID on the last one and then click that one. There we go. But you'll notice that the links are still stuck at the start. What we do to that is we then give a rule to nav. So, again, you can do it through CSS styles over here if you want by adding a new rule, or you can just type it in. I tend to work like this. I tend to keep my tags at the top, then my IDs, and then my classes, if I can help it, to try and keep my style sheets organized. So this will be a tag. And all I want to do is basically make the nav appear somewhere specific. So we will go with a position which is fixed. Slightly different to what we did before. You should be able to see the difference. Let's just see where it appears to start off with. It should just disappear first off. If I refresh that page, go right to the start, you'll notice that it's disappeared.
Oh no.
So we then need to tell it to be top and left 0 and 0.
0%.
Um,
Or just 0.
If you're using 0, you can just put 0. It's just if you're using pixels, you can't put like 1, 2, 3, or 4 for it and it consistently works. Sometimes it breaks.
Okay.
So if you put 3 pixels or 3%,
Oh,
whereas
PX.
px or
Yeah.
percent or whatever. Whereas if it's
Right, let me see if that bad boy works. Oh, what's going on here?
right, so now you can see that it's hidden behind everything else.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to do the Z index. I think I set the Z index to 1,
What?
which then brings it in front.
Whoa, go back a second, I didn't see what you did.
I just put Z index 1. All it does is it brings it in front of everything else.
Oh, underneath there, what they do.
Then give your nav a background colour, make it stand out, make it a little bit bigger.
That's good.
And then background.
But I give mine a background colour of black, and I made the font, just the colour
I'm going to make it a light blue.
white or a lighter blue. You can do it as a light blue like you had it. And I also gave it some padding, top and bottom, of like about 5 pixels, I think. That just means it gives some space top and bottom of the element for the text to appear. Colour. That colour needs to be in nav A, which will refer to the navigation and then the links within that navigation.
Like in top.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You see what it's like a nested kind of thing. I'm only targeting the links inside of the navigation, because what if I have links elsewhere in the document and I don't want them to be white?
Thinking, Adam.
Good thinking. There we go. And then I'll make the nav like 100% width.
So underneath nav, you've got nav A.
Yeah, that's just a new rule there, a new selector.
Adam,
Yeah.
Control S is save all.
Control S is just save. Does it save all?
Except both the HTML and CSS.
Really?
Yeah. At
Ooh.
least I think it's right.
I don't believe.
It saves the CSS from within the CSS, and if you're in the source code, not doing anything.
Oh, nice, it does.
Save all.
You've done
Oh,
something.
shit.
Right.
Sorry.
I'm going to give it a bit more size. I might make the font size a little bit bigger.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
You can just do whatever you want with this
I'm
stuff.
copying you, it's always right. Well, the link to it first time where the other you can do that right.
Yeah, I made a little bit of a mistake. And you'll notice on the left there, it's butted right to the left hand side. So what I want to do is I want to put some padding left in there so that the text isn't too close to it.
I agree.
So I can put some padding left. Hang about.
Have we done that?
No, I'm just wondering why it's. I didn't need to do margin on this one. And on my browser at home, I did have to change the margin height, width. I'm going to give it 15 pixels,
Oh, colour contrast is lovely.
and that puts it in a bit.
I do it down right.
And that's where we'll.
Go back to the
Just a sec.
add picture.
Right, I'm going to move on to something slightly different, and now for something completely different.
I seem to like it.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file. New HTML. Create. You can just copy and paste the HTML for now, with the exception of we don't necessarily need the CS. Yeah, we do need the CSS, don't we?
Oh God, what are we doing now? What have we missed?
We're starting from a new file, and actually,
Why? I like this one.
let's undo that. Don't copy and paste it just yet. I just want one object. If not gonna have anything in it for now. The ID can be.
Where to put this in?
Yeah.
Oh.
This is a blank new file. Just call it my div for now. It's an example. We are going to have some CSS in this, but I'm going to do it inside the document for now. So what that means is I need to put a style tag in, so that we can do a little bit of animation. First thing I need to do is to set up a height, width, and color for the div. Start off with. So I point to my div. I always call it basic NM1. I suppose you can probably do something a bit more complex. I'm going to do the basic steps here to start off with, and then I'll build it up to doing the full divs on the page, and then I'll do a bit of listening.
Hey, why is everything gone pink?
If we go into, when we go to 15, I'll maybe use a bit of that time to go a bit further, and we'll do the animated sliding page completely. Okay, so I've got a rule for my div, which I've just put in by hand.
Basic anim.
Whatever, basic animation. It's just a title, just appears at the top of the page.
Got that.
Save the file as animation1.
Oh, what?
And then I'm going to give it.
Saving that in the same place where my main saved.
Yeah.
Called
So
what?
I put everything in one folder.
My div.
I've called it animation1 width, but my div is the
Oh yeah.
ID down there. So I'm going to give it a width of 300 pixels, something that's visible, a height of 300 pixels. So in order for that to work, I'll also need to give it a position type. So in this case, I'll just use absolute. then that'll mean we can see it. And I'll just give it a background color. I'll show you a different way of doing background color. When it gives you the color selector, if you start typing RGBA, it will put the color selector up, but it will let you choose a color in RGB. The benefit of RGB is, let's choose something. The benefit of RGB is you get 3 different values, yeah? 4, in fact.
What's this for, sorry? This background colour?
Yeah, instead of using the usual color selector, so when you put the colon in like this, it gives you a color selector. Rather than doing that, type in RGBA, and what it'll do is it'll give you a new color selector, but it will put the code in RGBA rather than in hexadecimal.
Well, that's something to do.
When you do it in RGB, you can do something with this value here. So if you just put 0.5, save it, and we'll just view that in a browser. Now go and change that color again, sorry, that value again to 1. Refresh, and that's how we go. But what I've done is that's the opacity. So with RGBA, you can have background colors that overlay each other and have an effect on the layers below or whatever. You can have images and background colors and then use blending modes, so you can use more complex procedures with very little extra code, to be honest. So I've given it an RGBA color. I also want to set, this is not as easy as say using Flash, but at keyframes, and you have to give this set of keyframes a name, or this keyframe a name. So this keyframe can be move element, maybe. Have curly brackets like that, and inside of it you then set a from and the to.
That curly bracket from?
Yeah, they're both curly brackets. It's like an if-else kind of loop. So what I can do is I can say what I want it to be at from. So if I say left 0 pixels and 2 left 400 pixels and save it.
Is that 0 pixels?
Yeah, 0 pixels to 400 pixels. Now you have to bear in mind that in some browsers you have to add in extra code using WebKit, but I think most of the basic animation stuff works now in Chrome and Opera and Firefox, so you should be able to get away without WebKit for the simpler stuff.
Is it supposed to do something?
Not yet.
Oh, that's alright then.
In my div, it won't do anything entirely just yet. I'm going to put in animation, and then I'm going to tell it what I need to animate. So move element, and then 2s represents seconds, and then I'll put 1 to say how many rotations I want it to run. That still shouldn't do anything. Oh, I did it, just run it straight away. Oh yeah, because it's just in the div.
I did it as well.
You can also put it on infinite. And then it should just loop over and over, like that.
How do you spell infinite?
I-N-F.
Yeah.
I-N-I-T-E.
I did it right, so let's double check.
Think about that then. We can also take that line and put it in my div, sorry, hashtag first for the identifier, my div, and then take that line of code, and what we're going to do is we're going to change this to a pseudo selector for hover. What that means is when we hover over that div, it will then animate. So if I F5 it now, it's stopped. Then when I hover over it, whenever I'm hovering over it, I've got to follow it to keep it working now.
That could be, yeah.
I can also do active, Yeah, it'd be quite a simple but addictive game, I suspect, especially if there was a path that it followed
Yeah.
and you had to kind of like guide it through something. If I click on it, so whenever I click on it, it will move. So then I've got to follow it as well. Oh no, I don't. Just click on it. So that's active. So
It might just keep going.
yeah, it's on infinite, but I've changed it to this bit here. See where I've moved it? So it was there, and now I've created this.
So take it out that margin.
Yeah. Create a new one, and then this started off as hover, and then we made it into active. There's focus as well.
Right. Refresh. Ooh! Mine worked.
This is where we're going to get our hands dirty with JavaScript.
I don't want to get my hands dirty. I'd like them to be clean.
What I want you to do is, in the HTML part of it, we're going to put a button that can have ID of start anim. And I'll close the button, and in there we'll just put start animation. That's the label, basically.
Oh. Oh.
That's in the HTML bit.
What was all in HTML?
Well, technically, the stuff that's in pink is CSS.
Oh, right, okay. But it's all in the same place. I don't like
It is. It's all in the same place for this example, just because it's not going to be
Underneath
on pink.
Right, underneath my div. Oh, I can't read that yellow. What's it say?
Button, and then ID.
You're actually doing your animation.
It should look like. I've not saved it, that's why.
Slide everywhere. Nice, good.
Probably not showing up.
Oh, I typed all that.
I'm only moving it. I'm trying to figure out why it's not working. There it is. I've put it above so I can see it, otherwise it's to do with the positioning.
Right. Refresh. So what's it supposed to do?
It doesn't do anything, it's just
Oh.
it's just a button. But what I will do eventually, now underneath style we're going to put some code in. So script and
Oh, I'm starving.
we're not going to need this bit anymore, so this can be version 2.
Oh, I've just done that.
I've saved it as animation 2
Right.
because I'm not going to need this bit of text here. It's nearly 11 it is. We're going to have to transfer save it as animation 2. We'll pick it up when we
I've done that.
get the next room. But basically what we're going to do in this script is we're then going to make it respond when you click that button. It will add the animation to the object and run through it. I can do it pretty quickly. We need to create a function.
Oh, just close everything.
Right, okay. I'll start again in the next session. That's what I'll do.